we meet what's his name? Rakuro Hizutome or Matt Galley, who is a trash game hunter.
I don't play trash games. You take that back.
Okay. All right. Another thing that fucking kicked me in the nuts, bro. The opening song. After we get
Yes, actually, I put that in my notes. I just in all caps, best opening question mark question mark.
Oh my god. Yes, I don't remember if we did for the Crunchies best OP, but like this song,
This is
oh my
pretty
god.
good. This is
Metal
pretty
as
good.
fuck with some rap in there.
The
Really good.
breakdowns definitely got me low. Just
Yeah, I
turn
was
my
like,
whole
what?
head at it.
Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today is the first time we're going to be talking about Shangri-La Frontier. It was picked out by Matt last week, and we have so many more anime still to come next year in 2025. This is the last anime we're going to be talking about for 2024, but it's Shangri-La Frontier. We have a ton of anime here. They're picked by me or Matt, or $5 super chat on YouTube, or 500 bits on Twitch. And you can add one if you'd like. These are all the anime still to come. We've done so many anime here in season 2. And last time it ended up being a B. We have a lot of S's, A's, and we'll see where Shangri-La Frontier ends up. But I don't go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing really good. Last week I totally forgot to mention it, but after we got off the podcast last week, I went to go see uh re-release of Interstellar 5555 in theaters because it like
Sheesh.
re-released for one night. Really crazy how, just sounds and moving pictures can evoke so much emotion. It was really cool. It's just a reminder for me that, like, how good storytelling doesn't always have to be compelling dialogue. It doesn't always have to be fancy wordplay and stuff like that. A good story sometimes is just in, knowing how to sequence events so that way it's exciting and engaging for an audience to follow along and want to see how it gets resolved. Um,
Even like in something not as stripped down as that, like in manga, like I'm surprised as well when I started getting into manga where I don't I'm moved by more than I thought I would be with just little panels, and it's not even in color. They take away the color of it. So it's like, oh man, like this is still really good story. Some stuff I read and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And then sometimes the art is really good too, but a lot of times they convey in little bubbles of of text and then no color.
mhm.
So I totally understand the difference in mediums that can still enlighten you, uh,
Exactly. And
which is
that's
really dope.
just yeah, that's something that I feel like we've gotten to see a lot of with oh, excuse me, a lot of with just the stories that we've looked over at this past season because as we wrap up with this show, we're going to be doing the crunchies pretty soon here and paying
Woo!
homage to all the great and not so great stories that we've gotten to experience so far. So
Yeah,
I'm excited for that and excited to see where this one might take us. Uh,
definitely. So
it's definitely getting off to flashy start, but whether or not it's a compelling start, I think is left to be said.
for sure. So let's start talking about it. I want to get the breakdown of episode 1 and then we can dive into it. But Shangri-La Frontier, episode 1, what do you play games for? What happens in episode 1?
We are introduced to Rakuro Hizutomi, a trash game hunter, otherwise known as a freak. One of Rakuro's friends in class, Ray Saiga, struggles to break the ice with him, and the local game store owner, Mana Iwamaki, catches her looking for him after practice one day before he arrives to air out his problems with the last trashy game he played. Mana nudges Rakuro to take up playing a well-received game for a change, Shangri-La Frontier. Rakuro goes through character creation, giving himself the regular name, Sun Raku, taking a bird mask as his only armor. Sunraku begins his journey in this new world, learning new mechanics built into the game as he goes, leveling up before entering the first before leveling up before reaching a boss blocking his access to the second town.
First, I gotta say, oh boy, another isekai,
Oh
kind
boy,
of.
another isekai.
So, like,
Kind of.
if you're okay, so this is sort of transports you into the world. It's the video
It's
game
the full
sort of
dive VR.
full VR dive sort of style of anime. And when you tell me that right off the bat, I'm like, okay, another one. But instantly at like if you're gonna give me one of these, if I'm gonna be watching one of these, hit me with something, right? Grab my attention. What instantly grabbed my attention was the color, the animation. I was like, ooh, okay, here we are. So like that, if you're gonna do the same thing that I'm used to, that I've seen hundreds times before, give me something to instantly, catch me. And I was just like, whoa, blown away by the art. I was like, okay, cool. This is great. At least it's gonna look pretty and gonna have my attention. So like instantly I was like, and then when I started it, I was like, okay.
Everything looks really fluid. It looks really clean. It looks consistent and it looks good, if not great, consistently. It might be like, just off this first episode, like just one of, if I'm going off this first episode alone and all the first episodes we've watched, it's like from start to finish, one of the most consistently animated
Yes.
things that we've seen so far, for sure.
True. Also, hello everybody watching in the live chat. Hello, Claire. Claire gave you a hug. Not me though.
Oh, I'll give you a hug.
And no, that's forced. It's forced hug. So yeah, we get the whole VR. Something never I don't know. We meet what's the name? Rakuro Hizutome or Matt Galley, who is a trash game hunter.
I don't play trash games. You take that back.
Okay. All right. Maybe.
I understand the comparison. I play a lot of games.
You play a lot of games.
There's 500 games in my Steam library. That's not a secret for sure. But he's like a trash game hunter that's like also 100% his games. I'm not an achievement completionist, 100%er. I play a game till it stops itching my brain, which is usually somewhere around 30 to 40 hours, no matter what, unless it's like an exception. He's he's grinding those games, and I like how much of a point it makes that like this world is just full of all these trash games. It's just a cornucopia of choice of trash.
The real world, there are just a lot more trash games than there are good ones. Claire said, I bought a cattle prod for you, Jules. Get on with the show. All right, let's get going. Get going. Technically, yeah, there are more trash games than there are good games. I would agree with that. There's a ton of stuff that's just being made every day that's not great. But we see him as his character Sunraku, who he names for everybody, kicking Feyre from his one game and says they are the real Dark Lord. And he was playing Feyre Chronicle game, which is a VR game. Another thing that fucking kicked me in the nuts, bro, was the opening song.
Actually, I put that in my notes. I just in all caps, best opening question mark.
Oh my god. Yes, I don't remember if we did for the Crunchies best OP, but like this song, oh my
pretty
god.
good.
Metal as fuck with some rap in there.
Yeah, the
Really
breakdowns definitely got me just
I was like,
whole
what?
head at it. I'm like, what's going on here?
Instantly in the
I really
first
like this.
episode, we get the good animation right off the bat. Him like kicking the girl's face in the game. I was like, what the fuck? And then this like metal ass intro, and I'm like, okay, here we
Whatever
are.
we're doing, the vibes are
Vibes
here.
are high.
Yeah, the vibes are high.
We meet some characters who you talked about, Mana or Mami Iwamaki, who owns the Rock and Roll Gaming Store, Ray Saiga, who was the girl that wanted to talk to Hizutome, but didn't have the courage. And we get the introduction of Shangri-La Frontier, and this is the game that Mana Iwamaki always recommends. Is the number one game, is the Final Fantasy 14 or whatever, the game that has millions of players on it. Um, how did you like them going through, because they spent some time on him sort of looking at his classes, all the different classes, picking his starting outfit and going through all that stuff. I know for me, it is very like, oh man, Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember that stuff, and like I like it. Do you think it was too much or
Well, I
just
mean,
right for the average person that's not a gamer but an anime watcher?
I think it's the perfect amount for who he is, for for our character in question, where it's like it's driving home a point that like sure, these are things that a lot of MMOs have, but it's driving home this like kind of point that he's so happy and so just overjoyed to be in an environment where there is that type of option and attention to
Yeah,
detail and things where he normally doesn't have that type of access with the trash games that he's playing.
yeah,
It's probably like, filling into specific character meshes and stuff like that. So I don't think it's too much where he constantly is commenting on like, oh, this is a god game because like it's got all these things, and it's just, and then he's like, wait, I just need to remind myself like I'm just used to playing all the trash, and it's like it's exciting to watch somebody get so excited about those things to
yeah.
me, and I wanna see, like, what else he is drawn to as he goes into this world. Um
Because it is super unique, and I like that they set it up this way, because he is constantly commenting about how this game is just different and better, and he's excited to play, and he's like, oh, I'm excited to just keep playing this thing because of X, Y, whatever. And there are constant comments like that where he makes, and I'm just like, this is really cool. Like I
Mhm.
just like him enjoying the game after playing all these trash games with really buggy stuff that we see later on in another episode.
It makes
um
it for me realistic that, like, yeah, even though it puts it, yeah, in a context where I believe all that excitement, and it's not
yeah.
just like a gamer that's playing another VR full dive game because his experience is gonna be unique because he doesn't, yeah, it sets up very well that he doesn't play popular stuff for sure.
And this isn't like a I know maybe I'm skipping ahead, but like as the first episode as a whole, it doesn't seem like a nefarious type of thing. Like Mana Iwamaki isn't like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna trap them in the video game because I recommend. This feels very real world setting with just VR that is really advanced.
Mhm.
And everything that we've seen on the outside world is very much like us now in real life. So I kind of like that, where it's not just this overhead like evil corporation, at least yet. I don't know.
Yeah, because
But at
we
least
got
they
the
start us
teaser of
off
that
not like
that
that.
like, there's one person, the ultra coder, ultra webmaster designer, and they are, hiding in their tower somewhere. So whatever
Yes.
that thread leads to is what it leads to, but it
But
doesn't guarantee it's gonna be bad.
no, but I mean like at least it's not like he's trying to kill
Overt.
anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, okay,
It's
I
not
see what
like
you
his
mean.
life is at stake. It was like this is still just a
Exactly.
game.
Because
So
that is something that I find myself like being able to, appreciate like the comedic elements of the show more.
yeah.
And that's something that we talked about in the last show, not the last show, I'm losing track of memory, but the dungeon show, where it was like, it wanted to be like kind of video gamey, but it's like we're this is their real lives and stuff. So like
Mhm.
it created this cognitive dissonance in the storytelling. But here we know it's a game. It's set up as a game. The stakes are really low in life or death format, but
Yeah.
it's exciting to watch because we have a character that has, again, he's a fish out of water in the sake of he normally just plays bad games, and here's somebody who always plays bad games and has played them to the point that they know how to fight the game itself through its bad coding and through its bad AI and
Mm.
design and stuff like that, to the point that now give him a game where everything's actually designed well, and he's probably going to be able to excel.
Yeah, Claire says, I think the likely issue will be that it's quite a shallow concept and they'll quickly forget all about his trash game background, and the only impact will be the odd call out here and there. maybe eventually, but it sets it up so that because he played these trash games with bad graphics or abilities or glitches or something that hindered him a lot. So now he's like free reign. So his abilities in the game are better than the average person.
It's
So
like Rock
that's
Lee and Naruto constantly wearing the weights, and then you finally take the weights off and they just crash into the ground.
so I think that's what its ultimate purpose was that him playing all these trash games is the reason why he's better at level 1 than the normal person. And it's believable. Whether it becomes something else later on, I think I'm fine with just where it's at. But it was cool to see him picking his classes. He got Twin Blade Mercenary. He picked the Wanderer class, so his origin start is in a random spot, not in the first Gia or whatever first name for the intro city. He defeats some goblins. The Vorpal Bunny attacks. He allocated a lot of his stats to luck. I didn't catch why. Did he say why he wanted a lot of luck? Because that's kind of his thing, right?
Like crit damage and item drops. Like that's what he basically said.
Yeah,
High item drop because
because that's
items,
the name of the game.
weapons. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Loot.
Claire says it's a fun concept for a side character, but I don't know how find enough depths for a main cast over several seasons. I think there's only 2 seasons of this.
I think there's only one right now, actually.
Oh, really?
I might be wrong.
I do think that they're going to go into this love interest. I think there's more to that, and I think
Yeah.
they're leaning towards that really, which will
There's two
eventually
seasons.
maybe flourish or whatever. He's headed to the second city, but there's a big old snake in the way from the bridge, and the after credit scene. I don't know if you watched after the
I
credits. There was like
watched all of them, yeah.
there were a lot of really funny after credit stuff. We have a big night and in the city, and everybody's like, "What the fuck? What is that?" Uh,
Who are you people?
yeah, who are you? So after this first episode, while it's a concept that I guess I'll be honest, I'm growing tired of this video game sort of thing because it's been a lot. Um, it instantly hit me with that song. Got some really good animation, so at least I'll be like, okay, this looks pretty. And uh, yeah, I mean, I like the character creation, getting into the thing, and him sort of enjoying himself.
Mhm.
So I think it was a good first episode. Would I continue after that? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
I think like you're saying, it's just animated well enough to where I don't see in like shows at this quality so consistently that I would kind of be sunk in just on the animation alone, and the fact that like it kind of seems like it knows the story it wants to tell and it's going to stick to that, and I enjoy that. It doesn't seem like it's trying to get in over its head with all these different, concepts and things that it might want to perform in the long run. Right now in the short term, it's just like, hey, here's this guy who is, yeah, like has become unbound by bad programming, and let's see what he can do. Like, let's see what he does.
And I looked it up real quick. It came out in October 1st of 2023. So this may be like the newest, one of the newest anime that we've seen. I know we watched Trigun, but that at the time we watched it was like 2 years, I think. Yeah, it might be one of the newest anime that we've watched for the show. So, yeah, it shows. So that's good.
Shows.
Episode 2, a peculiar one. What happens in episode 2?
Ray is unable to find Sunraku in the tutorial town because he skipped it and is soloing a raid boss by himself. Getting hit with a poison attack in the middle of the fight, he is able to still defeat the boss, but is left with a ticking death clock as he sprints into town and finds the nearest inn to reset his respawn. Finally, interacting with the vendors, Sunraku buys armor and learns from a smith that he can collect materials to bring them back for higher tier items. Sunraku is warned not to go out after dark due to the change in monster spawns, but he takes this up as a challenge, then being met with overwhelming odds as he finds himself faced with a unique monster, Lycagon the Night Slayer.
Fuck, dude, this looks cool.
That's a big dog.
Big old
Can
doggy.
I
So
pet that dog?
Um, the big knight is in first year, and we find out that knight is Rei Saiga, the girl that uh likes our main character, that has eyes for our main character. It's the big ass knight. She's the big old knight. She went
And
looking
everybody's
for,
like, "Look at that crest! Isn't that like the achievement hunting guild?" Like
yeah,
she's
like what
literally
the
out
hell?
here maxing out her levels in a MMORPG.
No lifing this thing. So she went looking for Hizutome in the starting town of Firstia. Um, he gets poisoned from the snake tail. It was funny. I liked the running over through the town because he had poison on him. We get a lot of information on like how the game works, and I appreciate that about the small, like it's not a whole lot. Like I love that it's not just here's how the world works, here's this one mechanic. It's like just a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I'm familiar, I know what it means. If you're not familiar with it, it's not going to break the game or not going to break the anime. So they explain about the criticals, about happening when it hit a weak spot or in a perfect way. um PKers getting a skull on their name, so to look out for that for people that player kill. Because we meet Yamamoto, who's got his girl who wants to play the video game with him, and he's like, "I'm gonna get her to play my game, and she's gonna look up to me, and I'm gonna teach her everything, and she's gonna like me." So we've seen that happen,
Uh,
of course.
video game etiquette. You're supposed to call me by my screen name, not my real name.
Oh my god, brother, I hate that boy. It's fucking stupid. Well, actually, don't use my real name, please. Thank you. So like the comedy there is really funny. Like I'm cool with that. The comedy with Yamamoto and his girl, him running away, him defeating the poop snake or whatever he called it, getting level 14, jumping into, you had that picture of him jumping into bed. Like it's all funny, especially because he's wearing a goddamn
Especially
bird
just
head.
the cut of him like opening the door and it slams against the wall. And I love when he didn't mention that yet. Even though he's got this bird helmet on, super expressive. It's
Yeah.
still like they're still able to get him to be expressive through it.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully because of animation. But anytime he's drawn with just black eyes, like no white or
I
red in his eyes,
yeah.
it always gets me. It makes me laugh. Just the stoic like stand and stare.
Yeah. It's so good. Um, he has to he went shopping a little bit, so we get a little bit of a shopping episode in episode 2. So we get like how the world works. It's not too much to be like, okay, here we are, whatever. It's just enough for me to be okay with it. I'm sorry, Jules. Anime etiquette. You're supposed to have brightly colored hair and a weird sticky up bit. People will think you're a side character. True. I need to get my red hair back. Here, hold on. Just that
Just
messy
put
hair boy.
one red
One
streak
little.
down your hair, and then you could be like Shadow.
Oh, bro, the Sonic movie. So hyped for that. Yeah, we're me and Matt are definitely giving NPCs. We're not. We don't have that one trait. I got the glasses. I could do the little. Well, Matt, the little glint. I can't get the glint down. Never mind.
I'm gonna get another piercing to cover my base.
So this is all, and again, we've talked about anime where they're in a game before, especially Overlord or something where
Overlord, Bow Fury, we've seen it before for
we've
sure.
done it before. But it always gets me into the Final Fantasy mood, man. Like it always just gets me.
I was like, I'm not gonna say anything about Final Fantasy 14. I want to see if he does. I just canceled my subscription this month.
You had it this whole time. You weren't even
I
playing
had
it.
it this whole time without realizing it.
Matt, that's why I do month to month, because I know I'll do that. Do month to month, and then once it says you have 5 days left. Oh, okay.
Well, guess I'm over it again. Yeah.
Well, this
It
whole
was
experience, yeah, about him having to mine ore to bring back to the shopkeep to get a weapon made, how the drops were really bad for that. I was like, Final Fantasy. I was like, I know Matt would be doing that. To try and get the marsh daggers, I guess. The So he made a comment which has me thinking about the bigger picture. And we see this quite a bit where he's talking to NPCs and he's like, these NPCs are too good. Like, am I really do they comprehend what I'm saying? Like, what is this?
What AI is this using?
But it's super fleeting. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just there for a moment, but it is there.
so
There's a lot
like,
of stuff like that that I feel like it just pushes in your face for a moment and doesn't try to draw too
hey,
much
what's
attention to it.
this?
Yeah, and then
Okay. Nope.
what's
Nope.
going on
Just
over here?
throw it.
Oh, just new thing going on. Did you miss it? Too bad. Moving on.
Yeah.
And that's something that'll happen a lot in the next episode for sure,
Sure.
during our fight.
Mhm.
There's something going on with like a gun.
But yes, in this episode, he's like, are the NPCs too good? Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. We find out Ray, the knight, is a high level and defeats the snake in one hit. So she's been
That
grinding.
too just made me laugh, man. I'm
Yeah.
cracking up because she just literally walks up to it, slashes it, and just continues on with her day. Or like she like it was literally like a moment out of Elden Ring, like buffs herself 5 times.
Yeah.
One of the buffs had like apocalypse in the name. It's just like, what are you doing? This is a level 10 boss.
Yeah. Like, what is this? What's
You're
going
like
on?
level 80 or 90.
You don't need to do that, but it's for the
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's for the rotation. You're like, I don't need to prepare this, but like, this is what I do. This is how I
This
fight.
is what I do. This is my combo.
Yeah, it's my combo. Hizatomi is fighting a lot of enemies, and then we get this like again unique monster. So there are I was confused by this as well because then we see a shot of like the server room, I suppose. This like again says it's unique monster. Here it is. But in the server room, it was like number of unique monsters on the map, I think, and it's at 0 or number of unique monsters that were defeated. Was that what it said? It was just a little confusing because we go to like a room with a computer screen. It's like 0 unique monsters. So I didn't know if you
I
caught.
think I blinked.
Okay.
Blinked.
There was something there that had me confused. I was like, isn't this a unique monster? Like, why wouldn't it have 1? Unless I might have read it wrong. But we get Lycan, the unique monster, and there are yeah, it's a big bad. And we don't really know what this is just yet. But if you were thinking about going to episode 3, this badass looking fucking wolf, it looks so good. I was like, yeah, I gotta keep
And it's
going.
just like with this being left off here, it's like, he probably can't beat that thing, but at the same time, it's going to be anticlimactic if he just dies. So it's like, what's going to happen? Like
Yeah.
something's going to happen here, and it's not necessarily going to be that he defeats it. And again, yeah, if he dies, like it's just a game. So like that's totally acceptable, but it's going to be about what are the implications of his death moving forward. And it does come with implications.
Gotta say, if he did beat it, I would have been mad.
I would have been mad.
If he
I would have
was
been
like
mad.
this unique monster, boom, boom, boom. He's level what 14 right now or something. Oh man, we killed it. I would have been like, okay. Hey, Bo Fury, Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
So let's get into it. Episode 3, Black Wolf Night Slayer. What happens in episode 3?
Ray receives information that Sunraku was spotted heading into town, most likely poisoned by the snake boss. Sunraku is able to deflect and avoid most damage that Lycagon throws at him. However, he is caught off guard by an attack that slices his legs off. Sunraku pledges to defeat Lycagon, who reciprocates by cursing him.
Oof.
While mentally debriefing, Sunraku spots a little bunny down an alleyway and chases it until they reach a door, entering Rabbit Tuza. The boss of Rabbituza has requested to speak to Sunraku and introduces himself as, am I butcher this? Visachi. Visache.
Yeah, Visache.
Visache.
Ooh, buddy. So get some more information about Ray. Who is the emblem on her back, on the back of the knight, is the back of the is the logo of the Lycagon, that she's in a guild that maybe hunts the
Maybe
Lycagon
is hunting down the
specifically.
Lycagon specifically because there's guilds just dedicated to hunting down the unique monsters
And we
because
learned that
people are still don't really know their triggers even. Like, how
no,
do we even get these guys to spawn? They say that there's like 7 or 8 and 3
7.
have only and 3 have only ever been spotted.
Yeah, they said they had the names of about 3 or 4, that there's 7 colossi, they call them, and they're just hunting them. That nobody really knows. It's kinda crazy and maybe unbelievable a little bit that with the size of the player base, they said that there's some stuff and it's been around for a year, I think they said, that there are still some stuff that people haven't discovered. There's some crazy gamers out there. A little hard to believe that somebody wouldn't just, like,
Are
glitch
you
through a
telling me
wall and then
Hizutomi is the only freak around?
exactly. There's some freak gamers out there, come on. He's not the only one that found Lycagon in his first day, somehow triggered it. I don't know. Not one
Maybe not the first person that triggered it, but I think the show like it's implying that he's the first person that Lycagon sees as like an equal. Like, I acknowledge you, and that's why I'm cursing you. That's why I'm marking you. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're strong.
hmm.
You're the first to ever present me a challenge. And so I curse you with my mark, and I accept your challenge that you'll come back and defeat me.
Hmm.
That's how I was taking it, at least.
Claire says they might be progression gated or require others to be defeated, like in a sequence of bosses. That was my first thought. Yeah, we first off, we don't know what's going around in the world, so that definitely could be a possibility because we are in first town. It's
We're
called
in
Firstia.
Firstia, Secondsville,
Yeah,
third, third something. I
or
forget.
Dreama.
Third Dreama.
So he's still in the beginning of the game where town one, where everybody starts off Firstia, Secondville, and Third Drina. So he's still like on the first stuff, and we haven't seen what else is going on in the world, so that could be true. That could be something where a death or a quest being finished triggers this in this certain area. We still don't know what triggered Lycagon and why he showed up for our main character. How did you feel about the fight? Because that shit was
The
banging.
fight was pretty cool. It was very well animated. It was really just had a bunch of different things like going on. I really enjoyed the moment of him being like, I've fought through countless bugs and blah blah blah. Like, I am the trash gamer. Oops.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Nope.
screwed.
Nope.
I like that moment happening, and again, just the whole, I don't know what was going on, but it kept excessively giving us like shots of the moon being covered and uncovered by clouds
Brother,
and what was going, like, and then of whether or not the
he
moon was shining on the environments or not. So I feel like something to do with Lycagon's
something's
power has to
happening.
do with, yeah, whether or not the moon is out.
Claire says, "Do we know what the towns are called in Japanese?" I wondered if they sounded as dumb. I don't know, no, but it is Firstia, second something, and then third Rena. But yes, I noticed that too, and they made enough shots to where I'm like, "What's going on?" Because every time the cloud covered the moon, he would
Vanish. Yep.
vanish, and then once the cloud moved away from the moon and he got moonlight, that's when he came back. Homie didn't think that, but or homie didn't see that, but that is good for us to know. Um, I thought you were going to mention something else, which I really liked in this was that I like in the fight. He's leveled up really quick to like level 14 as he's fighting him. He's got these abilities. They gloss over them. It could be a lot of information coming at us, but they don't spend too much time on it. He has his weapons or whatever. But I like in the fight where as he's doing something, it just instantly has a little pop of his abilities. It doesn't have him explaining his abilities, which gets so tedious sometimes. They're like, all right, I'm going to use this ability because that does this to his attack and this does this to, and I'm going to hit him in this when the main character is explaining it, I'm just like, come on, you're stopping the momentum.
Exactly.
He's doing the thing or pulling out or using an ability, and then the little boop, the little
Tooltips.
pop-up screen,
Yeah.
the little tooltip shows up, is like sidestep, whatever. And I'm like,
Perfect parry.
oh, easy, so dope. And then the choom, and then it says critical. And I'm like, this is
Another
great.
another show that wow, never mind. Lost it.
Oh,
There's another show that recently aired, and it also does a really good job of doing that.
Attack on
Uh
Titan.
not Attack on Titan. But another show where like it's less of an isekai, it's a reverse isekai. It's like there's a fantastical world that's invading the
I think
real
I've done that
world.
one.
So that one's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Um I'm totally forgetting the name of it right now. Wow. It
Reverse
won like best
isekai.
anime at the Anime Awards. It's fine.
I only watch the crunchies. Sorry. Uh, but I really liked it. Where, man, do I get just so bogged down when the main character is like in a big fight. All right, I'm gonna do this and let me power up my move. What skills do I have? But it's just like, boom, he's doing it. Pop, pop, and I'm like, oh, that's so good. I was just, I was just like, this is great. Keep
But
the
yeah, it,
momentum
like you said,
high.
keep the momentum. It helps the fight keep its momentum. It helps it feel dynamic, and that like anything at any moment can happen without us having to pump the brakes and like have a dialogue breaking down a certain fight or a certain technique that's
Hmm.
going on. We can see how effective the attacks and the techniques that they're using are performing
So
live there. We don't need anybody to really explain it to us.
another thing that hit me in this, I really like that you mentioned before. I really like he's enjoying the game. Hey, I like his like optimism and him being like, oh, because like I hate when people hate watch something or hate play. It's like I hate Apex Legends. I'm gonna log in for another 8 hours here. It's like, oh, there's too much of that. And it's like
Yeah.
I really feel for him here. I'm
Hmm.
like, he's like, oh man, it's so
Yeah.
smooth. These avatar things are so dope. He's
And
like,
I
oh
also
yes, this feels great.
I like in combination with that his whole acknowledging that um Lycagon, he's like you're strong, you're absurdly strong, and you know you're strong, but you're an absurdity that's been programmed. You are an obstacle.
Defeatable.
You
Yeah.
are defeatable, and I'm going to do that. And I like just my roommate was watching that part with me as well, and just out loud I'm just like Souls games in a nutshell.
You are programmed to be defeated. People have defeated you, and I will do that.
Except
Ex-
in this case,
Nope.
nobody's defeated you, but I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah. Nope. The roar, the Lycagon's roar freezes him in air. He has 1 HP after he loses his legs. Vows to beat Lycagon, but we get the Lycagon's mark curse applied. He allocates some points for luck and speed build, and then we get like a little bunny that's sort of a la Alice in Wonderland. Goes through a door and he gets a unique scenario, which is recommended for level 80. And we go into Rabatusa, a different world. Emil, Emil is the bunny that we see here, the cutest little character. And then we meet Boss Visage. He tells him to call him something else. I wrote that down.
I think it's
Oh,
like the alternate to calling like a Yakuza boss a Don or something like that.
Vash.
A Vosh,
Vash.
yeah. And
So we meet
I
this
love,
dude.
yeah. Well, it'll happen next episode. This episode,
They
next
just show
episode.
him coming up and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
that's how it ends. But
Next
yeah,
episode, it happens, and I just love the whole. Uh, I forget what the word for
I,
it, but the oh my god, the
trope.
trope. Thank you. The trope that they go with him.
So let's get into it and let's talk about this whole other half as well. Episode 4, a trash game realignment of elevated tastes.
These names. Ray tells Mana about Senraku skipping the first area, getting reassured that she just has to keep on looking for him, and then tell tell him how she feels. Rakuro searches the forums for the encounter he had, but nothing comes up similar to his. Hisachi quickly takes a liking to Sunraku as he tasks Emil to look after him, then binding an item to him that halves his XP for 2.5 times the skill points. Rakuro jumps into one of his old broken trash fighting games to reunite with some old friends and invite them over to SLF because of the insane challenge that the game has offered him. Emil begins to draw attention from everyone, and screenshots are taken and posted up to the forums. With Sunraku's mark active, he's able to beeline it to the next boss in an attempt to defeat the Mud Digger.
Whoa. A lot happens in this one,
A
and I
lot
kind
does
of liked
happen.
it.
Mhm.
Ray still can't find Sunraku. We see also Rumi Hizutome a little bit, which is Homie's sister. I was like, oh, what is it? Was like a nothing throwaway sort of thing, but like he has a sister. Um, we get the connection from the last episode, which is the Rabatuza unique scenario. Anika Vosh is the big boss bunny, and he instantly hits him with the Vorpal Soul Collar that halves his XP that he receives. Because of this mark that he got from Like Again, he got this, or he thinks this is the reason and the thing that triggers the unique scenario. And nobody else on the forums is talking about this unique scenario of him going to Rabatuza
And
and
meeting
being
the boss.
introduced
Yeah.
by
It's always
Emo,
been, we have a snake threatening us. Can you beat the snake?
but because and I was really confused as well by like NPC language will reference the curse. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, there's gonna be like, oh shit, look at you, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that's what it was gonna be, but like, no, it set it up for this whole story where it's like, since you have this curse,
Ro
this
gets his own
character,
unique arc.
unique arc to him, which is insane. So already he got a like again, fought it, died, gained a lot of XP just by fighting it, builds a luck and speed build, and then gets this other unique scenario.
Because now
One,
he can't even, with that mark, he bought armor before, but now he can't equip anything to his torso or legs.
yeah,
So
so
he's
he still looks,
basically forced into relying on his speed build. He's forced into a born to to have a balanced build, forced to min max.
yeah, pretty much. Um, I had a question because they mentioned he in this episode he was like, oh man, this is crazy, but I gotta go and I'm gonna go look up stuff online and I gotta go. And then the emo's like, what? Okay, well, you can save your spot here. Brother, if I had this type of VR, he keeps saying like they're just laying down. Like from what we see, he's just laying there and it's like full on immersion. Like I would not stop. I would be like Ray here. Like I would not stop playing unless I am about to pee my pants. Like that's this game and this VR system, like he had some self-control there is all I'm saying.
Well,
He was
like
like, I gotta go.
he says that he's got to go because his play session's been long. But then I think mentally he was like, I don't think he said it out loud. I think it was in his thoughts that he was like, I want to look up stuff about this as well.
Yeah.
So he logs out, he looks stuff up, and then he immediately like hops back into the other game, right?
Burp.
Um,
Berserk
so yeah,
Online
burp.
Passion.
So he hops into burp, and it's like he went from a full dive VR game right into a different full dive VR game after
Mhm.
checking out some forums online.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah,
So
you're right. He just went right back in.
and it was just to go, hey guys, let's have a fight like the old times. Loses the fight. Actually, I've been having a lot of fun playing this other game. You guys should come check it out. Everybody's like, you know what? I think I'm going to check it out. So it's interesting how it'll be interesting to see, like, his old homies like hopping in and how that ends up playing out. But
I did
yeah,
like
he like
the
hopped out just to do that.
yeah, that's true. Okay, never mind. He was not self-control because yeah. But I did like the juxtaposition of the glitchy, buggy, trash fighting game.
That
How
was
there's
so good.
how there's nobody on the server anymore. There's sub 100 people still on the server. And when him and his friends start fighting, everybody that's in the server there, they're like, "Oh my god, look at these two legends here that are still playing this game that we know of, that we know them." They're like the people because there's only
And just
100 people playing or
uh
whatever. And it's
and the
just
way
so
that
good.
the show just literally, like you said, glitchy, buggy, the show literally looks like it's gonna break
Yeah.
itself, and I loved that. It just really added just an attention to detail in that scene that they didn't need to do,
No.
but it really, kind of emphasizes how good of a game Shangri-La Frontier is supposed to be.
Yeah. Top tier, best of the best,
God
the
game.
game
You
that
keep saying
everybody
God
needs to
game,
play.
God game. SLF, God game.
His friend from Burp tells him that he told one of his friends, this purple haired girl that he's been playing, and she is a PKer. So he alerted them that they are playing that Rumi or what's his name? Hizutome is playing.
Oh, she had a skull next to her name? Did I miss that?
Yeah, she was when she was fighting, everybody that she was fighting were players. And then they zoomed in on her name and it had like a skull. So like she was actively killing players in Shangri-La. So that's interesting. And she took interest in her friend. You could have NPCs in your party, and they do sort of this small explanation about how this is supposed to counteract with the like again curse, which was a really nice little addition there. Like, oh, this game is really well made because of this. You can have this really good bunny with you that can be in your party and help you out. So I do like the little small conversations about how the game works a little bit and how it makes sense. He wants to keep emo a secret because he's the only one that knows how to do it. The whole picture thing was really fun.
The
Uh,
second she put her that she framed it and it said photo mode underneath, I
so good.
lost it. I was on the verge of tears. I thought that was just such a
Control
good show.
screenshot. You just gotta
Yeah, but it's just it's just like that's just beautiful. Like I'm
yeah.
that's amazing.
And then we go into onto Third Dreama, which is the third town because it's summer vacation and Firstia is getting flooded with a ton of people playing this game because it's the number one game. And so he wants to get out of there before the servers crash and to defeat the area boss, Mud Digger, the area boss. And then after the credits, which I thought it was real, and I was like, what the hell? The bunny was napping, Emo was napping, and then it became a purple gas form. And then it was like, nope, it was a dream. And I was like, what is happening? So I do think there is something there because this was a level 80 quest, right? Like, what now? Let's get into speculation. What do you think this quest ultimately will have him do? I don't think we have a whole lot just yet.
Defeat Lycagon.
There's
I
nothing
think that
else?
I mean, like, I think that's definitely why he would be brought in after the thing. Like we saw Emo was like fangirling over him. Like, oh my god, you
Yeah.
have the what was the word for it? The Vorpal spirit. Like you have the Vorpal spirit. Um all these fangirling comments, and then we have the Sachi telling him what were his words? Extraordinary hardship is necessary for the weak to grow
Yeah.
stronger. So I think they're gonna try to turn him into like their champion to defeat
Okay.
Lycagon, who's like probably in a more like more of a threat to them than it appears, at least right now. Like Lycagon has the visage of a wolf, of a dog, natural predator of bunnies. So I think that's the deal.
Yeah, that makes sense. Claire says, I'm not sure why his first response to him getting levels slower, but more stat points per level is this sucks, not this is totally broken.
I said that too, and he eventually does like come back on around to it and say like, you know what, that actually might be better than worse
Yeah,
than I initially thought. I think it's just the fact that like he just got this mark and it's being imposed upon him, and set conditions are being imposed, and now he gets this collar around him, and more conditions are imposed, and he's just more along the lines of, why do I keep getting all these conditions on me? I don't.
because he puts in the same class conditions as the trash games. Like the
Mhm.
trash games had limitations to what you can do. And he was like, Shangri-La, I'm free to do whatever my body wants to do, whatever my mind can imagine in Shangri-La. That's what I can do, anything. And then now he's like, limitations, but
Yeah.
like,
He
it's like, well,
eventually
this is
comes
actually
around and
kind of good.
says, "Yeah, that actually sounds pretty good," because exactly, that's the same thing I said, like, you're taking the twice the amount of time to get to the next level, but you're getting slightly more than twice the amount of skill points you would be getting. So
Mhm.
you're at level 80, you're gonna have more skill points allocated than anybody else at level 80, but it's gonna take a lot longer to get there.
But
So,
still,
but
eventually
still.
at end game, this is the min max way to do it. Find like
So
again, real quick, unlock this unique scenario, get the collar, go in and start playing the game.
and if there's a level cap, he's going to be godlike. Exactly. And I think that's something that this quest is kind of like it entailed for, is like, think about it. Giving him that, the lower level you are, the more benefit you're going to get out of it. And the developers probably didn't intend for Lycagon to be triggered by somebody that's so low level, at level like 15 or 20 ish,
Mhm.
whatever he's around. So
Is
he's going to be getting the most amount of benefit out of that. Whereas if somebody was like level 60 and they activated it, their benefit wouldn't be as long standing. They would only be getting, you know,
20
20
or
so
so.
levels benefit of that. So that's also just a thought to throw out there. And the fact that like, he's on track to breaking the game.
Yeah, is there something as well to it? I can't think of the way that it'll break the game as well, but there's specifically the curse does w- enemy that is lower level than him will run away. We see him use that when he takes down that ram in the last episode, but like, does that have some sort of game breaking ramification as well if he is lower level a whole lot of the time?
See, I
There
thought
might be something,
he
but I
ended
can't
up
think of it.
using that to just clear the path to the next boss, right? But when he
Uh,
goes, "Oh no, it works," I thought what we were about to see was like a shot of him making like a huge amount of enemies across like a hunting field, like all just like run off a cliff, or like
mm,
run them all into some trap he set up, and then him just like level up, level up, level up, level up. Who cares if I only get half the XP if I could just
yeah.
create an.
Okay.
I thought he was about to create an XP farm. I thought we were about to see a Minecraft XP farm. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
I mean,
that's
it
what I
still
thought
technically
we
could
were
happen.
going. But
I
then
th-
he's just like, time to fight the next boss in the marsh, even though he's my natural enemy. And I'm like, what?
yeah. I thought he was gonna ride the ram. Like I thought that was like him gonna I thought he was gonna break the game that way where it always wants to run away from him at the fastest speed. So if he jumps
Max
on
level
it,
mounts.
it can not run away from him. So it'll always go max speed. So that's how I thought he was going to break it, but he didn't. So I was like, but those are two different ways that he could have broken the game, I suppose, with that, just that idea, which could
Each
happen.
each gamer to their own.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, cool. Fastest mount ever. If they have to run away from me, I'm just gonna get on them. They'll never run away from me. Like, I'll
All I
just
saw
go."
was dollar signs.
I saw distance. I was like, "Oh, he get there quick." Um, overall, I guess final thoughts for me. These first 4 episodes look beautiful. Like you were saying in the beginning, the most consistent anime and at a higher caliber than a lot of anime. I don't know if I fully love the main character really, but I love the
Yeah.
world so far. And I love sort of this side story with Ray where she's just kind of trying to get his attention, and she's just secretly an amazing godlike character in a guild, probably, that has spent a ton of time in the game, and that just hey, want to
I
play?
I
Want to play,
almost
boy?
feel bad for Ray though, because it's
Yeah,
like this whole I'm gonna get the guy into the game that I like, and I want to show him the ropes, so that way, like, because it's like the other couple that we kind of saw interacting,
yeah,
so it's like the inverse of that, but Sunraku just like ran off in the other direction, and just like now she's like trying to play catch up. Like, no, wait, stop. No, wait. But he's
yeah.
like, no, I'm off. What do you mean?
Hmm.
And so there's probably a lesson there about something, but it's still really entertaining to watch it play out. Yeah,
Will she? Ooh, what do you think? Do you think when she finally meets up with him, will she admit who she is, or will she keep that a secret? Because it
I
could go
think
either way.
something's gonna happen to where they don't meet up under the conditions that she wanted, and then she's not gonna be able to reveal who she is, and
Because
then
I
it's gonna
think
be
that's what.
like something that gets
Yeah,
stretched out. It'll
I
be a bit. It's gonna turn into a bit.
because that's I feel like that's what that night clothing is for, like to hide herself. And that's what it's gonna be for the bit. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like, oh my god, look at this crazy night. He wants to be with me in my party. Oh man, let's take down this like again together.
Actually, the coolest fucking thing ever.
Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot more than I did coming into it with the idea that it was going to be an isekai video game, VR dive, whatever game. I'm liking it. Pretty cool. I'm liking it. Um Matt, when you're not full diving into a VR world, where can they find you on the internet?
You could follow me on my YouTube at Matt_Galley, or on my other socials. I just be posting on Instagram, on Threads. Just add an ITS at the front, make it at it's Matt_Galley. Jules, when we're not here, sun rocking around, where can the people find you?
At JulesTheHuman, at JulesTheHuman on all social media, on my YouTube channel, on Instagram. I'm posting on Threads a whole lot. If you're on Threads, at JulesTheHuman. I've been reading a lot of comics, watching a lot of Star Trek. You can watch this podcast on Spotify. So if you're on the way to work or at the gym, you could turn us on Spotify. Just put it on. You can see the video there as well. You can listen to us on YouTube Music, on probably Amazon Music or something. Anywhere you get this podcast, not just YouTube. So if it's better for somewhere else for you, you can do that as well. We have a ton of anime to go, and this is going to be the last one for season 2. So once we are done with Shangri-La, the slate will be wiped clean. We will do the Crunchy Awards, rank and give out awards for all of these anime that we watched this season. I'm going to figure out how y'all can vote as well for your favorites in each category. We got to get some categories rolling up, but it's going to be done. We will be done with season 2 animes and start all over after
Hi,
the
Aura Boy.
crunchies.
Thank you for being here. We're almost done, but thank you for being here.
Oh, hello. Hello. I can see you here. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, that's the end. Watch Shangri-La 5 through 8. Do we decide we're gonna do 12? I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do 12 episodes total of Shangri-La.
Bye, L.
Hello everybody. Hello. I see y'all there. Shangri-La is amazing. Yes, rewatch the podcast. We talked about how much fun it was. But yeah, that's the end. Watch Shangri-La episode 5 through 8 before next Thursday. Have a happy Christmas, happy holidays. But we'll be
Merry
back.
Christmas. Merry Chrysler.
Merry Chrysler. We'll be back next Thursday for some more Shangri-La. Watch those episodes and come discuss it with us.